Hello and welcome to Nothing But the Truth. Was the BJP attack on the Election Commission justified, or has it breached the marker of propriety? That's the key issue I shall explore today with the party's leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha and its Amritsar candidate Arun Jaitley. Mr. Jaitley, let's start with your party's attack on the Election Commission. Narendra Modi, your party's Prime Ministerial candidate, has accused the Commission of being partisan and biased. He says it's working under pressure. Now, I can accept your right to criticize the Election Commission, but what justification does Mr. Modi have for questioning its integrity?
You see, everybody uses his own phraseology. In fact, I have written extensively and spoken extensively on my critique of the Election Commission's decision in Varanasi. How is it that the Election Commission, at the same venue, allows three political parties to have a meeting and a roadshow, but the BJP will not be allowed?
Can I separate between your criticism and Mr. Modi's?
Let's see, this is the common thread.
I understand. But let me start with Mr. Modi.
Let me tell you, even though I did not... How do you rationalize a decision, or can anyone rationalize a decision, that at a particular venue, three parties will be allowed, one will not be allowed?
I'll come to that decision in a moment's time, because
that's the key issue.
Well, the key issue is not the decision so much as the language. You see, when Mr. Modi...
I'm afraid the key issue is fairness. The key issue is not criticism of unfairness.
The key issue is this. You may disagree with an individual decision because you don't like it and it's gone against your interests, but that doesn't give a Prime Ministerial candidate or anyone else the right to question the integrity of a constitutional body.
How do you, let's be very clear, how do you rationalize a decision that there won't be a level playing field in a campaign?
All right.
Now, if there is no level playing field, what is the other word that you use for it? You see, language gives a facility. You can say the same thing in different ways. Somebody calls it partisan, somebody says it's not a level playing field.
Let's come to that key problem that you've had with the Election Commission, and first with the District Magistrate over Beniabagh, and then I'll come back and pick up on the language Mr. Modi used and whether he's right to question the integrity of the Commission. That key problem was on Beniabagh. On Friday, Election Commissioner H.S. Brahma told me that there were two good reasons for refusing the BJP use of Beniabagh. First, that the Bagh was too small to handle the size of audience, the size of people that would attend a Modi rally. And secondly, he said you wanted to hold your rally at 7:30 or 8 in a congested area surrounded by high-rises, as a result of which there were natural and inevitable security considerations. Those are, most people would say, good reasons.
These are not the reasons.
For denying it.
Well, this is an afterthought. The reasons conveyed to us in writing are that in the year 1991, there was a problem after a rally. Therefore, 23 years later, the BJP cannot be allowed a rally. In the last 23 years, 500 rallies have been held in Beniabagh, including some 50 or 80 by the BJP itself. Therefore, all these very polite reasons that you are giving us are clearly an afterthought. I have a written document from the returning officer giving me this as the reason.
Mr. Brahma said that in fact there had been a serious miscommunication between the District Magistrate and your side, but these were the reasons. He went on record to say so. And
but let me first of all let me just give you this thing. From 1991, everybody's been using Beniabagh. Modi has, during this election, addressed 450 meetings. Not an incident has taken place anywhere. In Beniabagh, Akhilesh Yadav addressed a rally. In Beniabagh, Arvind Kejriwal addressed a rally. In the Beniabagh area, Rahul Gandhi is allowed to take out his yatra.
But you're making one critical mistake. Narendra Modi is not Akhilesh Yadav, he's not Arvind Kejriwal.
So are you, Karan, please, are you going, show me the face and I'll tell you what the law is?
No, it's not that.
According to me, this is the worst example of discrimination.
No, you're wrong.
What applies to others doesn't apply to Narendra Modi.
I'll tell you why, in fact, it is a good reason, because security is individual specific. The security required...
I don't see any difference between the security of Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi.
Well, I'll come to that in a moment's time. First of all, Narendra Modi faces a much higher threat perception than Akhilesh Yadav or Arvind Kejriwal. Can I finish? Then you answer it. And secondly, what you're overlooking is that a senior official of the Gujarat Police, the very organization that is responsible for Mr. Modi's security, had actually told the District Magistrate that it would be undesirable. Mr. Brahma's gone on record. Mr. Brahma's gone on record.
This is a factually incorrect statement.
Are you saying Mr. Brahma's lying?
This is a factually incorrect statement communicated to Mr. Brahma. I personally, and along with me, Amit Shah repeatedly spoke to the Gujarat police officers who were there. They went to the District Magistrate and said, we have no objection, please allow this rally. Repeatedly they were saying, and they are misquoting the Gujarat police officers for some reason.
Mr. Brahma went on record to say that in fact a senior Gujarat police officer has said that it would be undesirable for a VIP to hold a rally.
It is factually incorrect.
Alright. You're comparing between permission granted to Rahul Gandhi to hold a road show that went through Beniabagh and the denial of permission for a rally.
A road show is the bigger security risk.
Just a moment. There's a big difference between a rally and a road show, and that's what you're overlooking. A road show is a moving thing. A rally is a stationary thing. Number two.
To the contrary.
Let me finish.
Since you're on a wrong track, I think I must stop you here. In a rally, there is a safe entry and an exit for the VIP. In a road show, people are all around you. So a road show always is a greater security risk than a rally. In a rally, there is a D in front where people are 100 yards away.
Not in Beniabagh, where the capacity of the ground would not be sufficient for the size of the audience.
So the alternative ground which was being suggested to us, the alternative ground which was being suggested to us by the district magistrate is half the size of Beniabagh.
The second thing you're overlooking is that Rahul Gandhi's road show was during daylight hours. Your rally would have been at 7:30, 8 in the evening in darkness.
It hardly makes a difference.
It affects security enormously.
Can I tell you something? Narendra Modi had one road show at the time of his nomination. Subsequently, he drove from the helipad to the party office. Both these were massive events. If they could pass on safely, I have no doubt in my mind, just like the other 450 rallies passed on safely, Beniabagh would have been equally safe.
The judgment was the judgment of a district magistrate supported.
According to
you have to let me finish. It was the judgment of a district magistrate supported and condoned and endorsed by the Chief Secretary and the Director General of Police. If these people together felt that they wanted, for reasons of safety, to take preemptive action and prevent a rally, surely they have the right to do so.
The net and inevitable consequence of this is, it is in your interest that we don't allow you to campaign. Now,
that's not what we said.
That's what it has.
No, that's not what we said. No.
Because of your security, we won't allow you to campaign.
You see, they're saying two things. It's not just Mr. Modi's security that they're concerned about. They're also concerned about the safety and security of the ordinary people who attend the rally.
That would apply in every rally.
And therefore, they take a decision. They take a decision.
Please tell me, today you have chief ministers of several states. Dr. Raman Singh's security because of Maoist problem is very serious. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Madam Jayalalitha, all these people have huge security. Has anybody been prevented from holding a meeting? Now let me illustrate the point. In an election, you can hold a meeting in Srinagar, Baramulla and Anantnag. You can do it in the Maoist areas of Chhattisgarh. But you can't do it in Varanasi because the security is very precarious.
No, you can't do it in Beniabagh. That's the specific point that was made. Not Varanasi, you can't do it in Beniabagh.
I think this is a sham reason, and even if you see virtues in disallowing candidates from holding meetings in their own rallies, I will continue till my last to condemn it.
That's another matter, and that's your right to do. But I'm coming back to something else. I'm going to now come back to my first question. You are right, perhaps, if you want to criticize the decision because you don't like it, it's gone against your interest. What I'm questioning is, why did Mr. Modi actually question the integrity of a constitutional institution?
You see, to say that
was unwarranted.
Please, to say that you've allowed 3 parties to do it and 1 not to do it, how else does one express himself?
Let me put it like this. Was the election commission partisan and biased when they gave permission to Amit Shah to campaign but didn't give that permission to
No.
Khan?
The election commission has rightly explained, A, Amit Shah's statement was entirely different. B, Amit Shah immediately gave an assurance to the election commission that even if you object to a statement like this, it won't be repeated.
My point, the election commission used its discretion and ruled in favor of Amit Shah, and that proves that it is not partisan and biased. In this instance, because you got a decision against yourself, you've gone overboard.
In this case, the election commission endorsed the decision of the returning officer, which prevented Modi's right to campaign in the constituency.
It wasn't preventing his right to campaign, it was simply preventing his right to hold a rally in one particular venue.
That's the only function he had in the city.
You can campaign in other words.
He had no other function in the city.
He chose a venue that was considered to be security unsafe.
Beniabagh is the Ramlila Maidan or the Shivaji Maidan of Varanasi. Now, if in the crucial ground where meetings are always held, one candidate is told that your rivals can have it, you can't have it, and you don't see anything wrong in it, frankly, it shakes my conscience.
Mr. Modi paid the penalty of his popularity. Sometimes there is a cost to being so popular. It's deemed that because he's so popular, special security is needed. Security that Rahul Gandhi doesn't require is needed here. But you think so? Only because it went against you.
No, it's a completely sham reason. You see, no politician in India has till date been disallowed the right to have a meeting in his constituency.
Even if you believe it's a sham reason, which I contest, but even if you do, does that still warrant questioning the integrity of a constitutional institution?
If it's a partisan decision, How else does one express it? I can say it's an uneven hand. I can say it's discriminatory. Somebody can say it's partisan. It all means the same.
Can't I say the same thing of Mr. Modi's disagreement? It's partisan. He doesn't like it because it's gone against him. He's not being objective because he
you're entitled to say that.
As the victim.
You've said something much worse in the past. You means the media, and therefore what's wrong in that?
Let me broaden this discussion a little. At the moment we're talking about Mr. Modi and the manner in which he has attacked the integrity of a constitutional institution. Unfortunately, you, Arun Jaitley, went one step further. You became personal. You said of the three commissioners themselves that they were timid, that they were dwarfing the institution they had occupied. What gave you the right to personally attack individuals?
I didn't name anybody.
Well, it's quite obvious you were talking about.
I didn't name anybody, let's be very clear. I made 2 points. My first point was, 10 years ago, India bid goodbye to booth capturing. This time, silent booth capturing in West Bengal and parts of Uttar Pradesh has come back. The Election Commission should have acted in a tough manner, just as their predecessors have. Similarly, if you found an erring district magistrate, the Beniabagh case, you should have stopped him. You should have appointed a special observer on day one. On the day of the polling or one day before that, the special observer comes, it's of no use to me. Therefore, I made a general point that if
you made a personal point.
No, I made a general point that timidity in cases of constitutional authorities can dwarf the institution.
As I'm pointing out to you, your charge based upon silent booth capturing has been refuted by Mr. Sampath. You may not believe his refutation, but he's done it at a press conference, the country's heard it. Secondly, your charge based on Beniabagh is simply based on the fact, I say, that you don't like the decision because it went against you. Others think it's objective. But the point
I completely disagree, and I think it's an unconscionable decision to disallow a candidate from holding a meeting in his own constituency.
What I'm questioning is not your right to criticize. You have a right to criticize. What I'm questioning is you're becoming personal.
Well, I'm sorry, I have not become personal. I have said that in any constitutional institution, if over-restraint becomes timidity, it can dwarf an institution.
Can I put it like this?
Can I tell you, when the Supreme Court delivered the habeas corpus judgment during the emergency, subsequently the topmost editors of the country referred to it as timidity. And the court said it's not contempt, it's not personal.
Absolutely, but that was a different situation and the outcome was different. Here, it's not anything equivalent as disallowing habeas corpus. Let's come back to
Free and fair elections are very important.
You're a man who is an honorable man. You're a man who I personally know never hesitates to accept he's made a mistake if he's made one. In this instance, I put it to you, you spoke perhaps in anger, you spoke perhaps in haste. Would you accept that you should have rephrased yourself?
Well, you can disagree with my language, but I do believe that the substance of what I have said, I am very deeply concerned with this fact that it's a blot on democracy, that a candidate can be prevented from campaigning.
You can make that entire point about it being a blot on democracy and being deeply concerned, but what I'm asking you is, would you reconsider the use of the personal language? Which
well, language gives a facility, the same thing can be expressed in many ways.
You could have expressed yourself better.
Well, my preceding sentence was the commission should have been bolder.
Yes, but could you have expressed yourself better overall?
No, but saying that it could have been bolder is a nice expression.
Let's come to something else. When the district magistrate, while you were in Varanasi, announced that in fact the BJP had asked for an alternative venue and that he'd granted it, you got extremely angry at your press conference. You refuted it almost in anger. Subsequently, you called that district magistrate a delinquent official. Now, thereafter, late that night, the Election Commission made public a letter they had written to you. And this is what that letter says. You may also be aware that earlier a representative of your party, Shri Vidyasagar Rai, had already requested for an alternative site on 6th May 2014, which was given on 7th May 2014, though you later requested the returning officer not to process the permission. Doesn't that prove that actually the district magistrate was right, you were wrong?
Factually inaccurate. Now let me tell
you. Again, the Election Commission is wrong?
Please tell me, it's inaccurate. On 7th of May, we were given permission to use Beniabagh. We were asked to deposit 10,000 rupees. We deposited it. Then that permission was revoked. When this gentleman from the party went there, the district magistrate told him, why don't you sign another application asking for the other ground and I'll give it to you.
And did he do it?
This man did it and immediately withdrew the application. So they refer to the withdrawn application with incomplete facts.
Just how much was the gap between signing the application and withdrawing it?
He tells me he did it immediately.
Is it possible that he's not telling you the truth because he's embarrassed you?
I'm afraid on 7th May, you come with me after this interview, I'll show you the letter. allowing Beniabagh to me.
But is there not now a situation where on this question of being allotted an alternative site, asking for it and then withdrawing, that there's a question of
Karan,
Vidya Sagar's word against the election
but
commission?
That alternative site could never be accepted on the election commission's own version, because the alternative size is a fraction of the size of Beniabagh.
Maybe, but the point...
You don't give me Beniabagh because it's not big enough, so you tell me take a smaller one.
No, the point I'm making is not whether it's an appropriate site. The point I'm making is, were you wrong to angrily question the district magistrate in public when it seems he was right?
No, he's certainly not right. Why is he right?
Because the election commission...
You see, here is an election commissioner, here is a returning officer, he allots Beniabagh to 2 other parties or 3 other parties, but not to me. And you want to tell me that he's right? I'll never accept that he's right.
People feel that the use of the word delinquent by a former senior minister, a man who could be perhaps the second most senior minister in any government Mr. Modi may form, was inappropriate. They say that you shouldn't...
Cases of misconduct against government servants, this is the phrase which is always used.
To many it sounds abusive. It sounds...
It's a phraseology. It's a phraseology of indiscipline.
So you stand by it?
I stand by it. It's a phraseology which is always used in the context when there is a charge against a government official.
So you have no second thoughts about calling an IAS officer delinquent?
But that's a phrase which is there in the government vocabulary itself.
Alright. Let's come to something else. It's quite possible, maybe it's even likely, that in 6 days from now the BJP will be the party of governance in India. Is it fitting that you should have carried out a dharna or a protest outside the offices of the Election Commission? It's a constitutional body.
Where do you get this proposition that you can't protest against a constitutional body?
It's not that you can't protest, it's the nature of the protest. This is the nature.
I'll just tell you, the Prime Minister of India is a constitutional authority. A minister is constitutional. Parliament is constitutional.
They're all political. The Election Commission is above the fray.
Where is this distinction? Therefore, if the Election Commission takes a wrong decision, we must accept the wrong decision and never protest.
No, I'm not saying never protest. You see,
I rationalized...
You're misunderstanding me.
Please, I rationalized my reason for a protest, so that I am protesting because the constitutional avenue of campaigning has not been made available to me. I am therefore offering a satyagraha.
You see, let me put it like this. I'm not questioning your right to protest. I'm questioning the propriety of the form of protest. And let me explain why.
Why is dharna a bad form of protest?
Because you dragged a constitutional body that is above the fray, which is where the Election Commission is different to the Prime Minister or Parliament. They're very much part of politics.
Certainly not there.
Is above the fray. And you dragged it into politics.
Well, if the Election Commission says, I won't give you the right to effectively campaign, then protest is a right.
But the nature of the protest is what's at question.
What's wrong with a peaceful dharna?
To surround the attempt to surround the office of the Election Commission, to lay it under siege in the middle of an election.
You don't even surround it. For a brief period of time, you sit on the street outside the office. That's all.
All right. One last question on the handling of this entire Varanasi episode. Is it fitting that a man who very possibly in just 6 days could be the next Prime Minister of India, should have deliberately and blatantly violated prohibitory orders in Varanasi by carrying out a 5-kilometer roadshow and paralyzing the city?
I'm amazed at your questions. I'm sorry I'm saying this. Rahul Gandhi went to a roadshow. Your conscience doesn't trouble you.
He's not going to be Prime Minister.
Well, I'm glad you accept that fact. Kejriwal went through a roadshow. Akhilesh Yadav is the Chief Minister. He goes through a roadshow. And you say, why should Narendra Modi go through a roadshow?
Doesn't one expect higher standards of the man who will be the Prime Minister of India?
Akhilesh Yadav can do a roadshow. Narendra Modi cannot. Karan, I'm amazed at the nature of this question. That why should Narendra Modi have a roadshow? Because it paralyzes traffic. Let's put a democracy in India.
It's not the paralyzing of traffic, it's the deliberate defiance and breaching of prohibitory orders.
He did not breach prohibitory orders.
Mukul Goyal, ADG Police, has told the Hindustan Times the local administration has referred the matter to the Election Commission as it was a violation of prohibitory orders. That's the
How
ADG
could it
Police.
Be a violation?
Well, that's the ADG Police.
Well, he has driven down from his helipad to the party office. There is no prohibitory order which prevents you from doing that.
So the ADG of police who said this to the Hindustan Times...
Well, the ADG of police is Mulayam Singh Yadav's ADG of police or Akhilesh Yadav's ADG. Please tell me, when you drove from your studio or your home to this place, have you violated any prohibitory orders if there was any? Narendra Modi drove alone in his motorcad from the helipad to the party office. Obviously, if Narendra Modi is driving, people will come to see him.
My last question on this issue, because we've come right to the end of this interview. The reason I've raised all these issues is because people say 6 days before the results, at a time when everyone expects that the BJP could end up in power, this looks like arrogance and defiance. And what worries them...
It's not arrogance.
What worries them is that 6 days later, if the BJP does come to power, will the BJP behave worse?
No, there is a certain amount of protest, there is a certain amount of anguish. And the anguish is at the fact that even if the returning officer erred, the Election Commission should not have condoned it.
So at the end of the day, you're standing by the claim that the integrity of the Election Commission has been rightly questioned and impugned?
Well, I am not going to use the words like integrity being questioned, but all I would say is this decision of the Election Commission is highly questionable.
Will this affect the attitude of any government Narendra Modi forms towards the Election Commission? Because that's the other serious concern.
Certainly not. We have a sense of maturity. We can't carry on an incident beyond a point. An incident did take place. We protested and that's it.
So are you also now saying, because I'm reading between the lines, you've done your protest, this issue is over, the chapter is closed?
Now we are going for voting tomorrow. So where's the question of going back to this chapter?
So the chapter is closed?
But with one caveat, I would like this commission or a future commission to reconsider in a different situation, a situation of this kind, and reverse the decision that a candidate can be prevented from campaigning.
In other words, you're saying there are lessons to learn and this commission or a future commission must learn those lessons.
And correct the error.
But you're also saying, aren't you, that this chapter is closed and it will not be held against the Election Commission?
Sir, we don't have a personal squabble with them. Why should we hold it against them? The Election Commission is an institution. We have to work with them.
That is a very reassuring thing that you said. Arun Jaitley, a pleasure talking to you.